Hello everybody. I hope you all are doing well. I'm Kajuju and this is a deck check. I'll be giving you straight up gameplay and impressions of how well each of the various games work on the Steam Deck, as well as how the controls feel, what settings I'd use to get the game run smoothly, and whether I personally would prefer to play this game on my PC or on the Steam Deck. I won't be doing any sort of deep dive into the performance or hardware of the Steam Deck itself. I will leave the performance overlay on for FPS for you to observe as we go through this deck check. Timestamps are provided for you to get straight to the part that you are interested in, so be sure to check that out, especially if you just want to see gameplay with no commentary. So let's get started. The game we are checking out is Samurai Warriors 5. Samurai Warriors 5 released in July 2021. It is the latest installment of Koei's Samurai Warriors series. The Samurai Warriors series is set in the Sengoku period of Japan. In this installment, you play the story of Nobunaga Oda and Mitsuhide Akechi. You select which officers you would like to play as and complete objectives and bonuses in a story-specific stage to progress to the next one. The big appeal is 1 versus 100 playstyle, where you have the ability to decimate hundreds of enemies in a single blow. These types of games are really flashy and a bit addictive. For me, I personally enjoy the story of when Samurai Warriors is set in, as well as the story cutscenes. Gameplay can be a bit dry after a while, but what keeps me interested is the story and the very well animated cutscenes. At the time of this recording, the game's deck compatibility status is unsupported, which means Valve is still working on adding support for this game on the Steam Deck. It definitely earns its current status since you can't play the game with any of the provided Proton compatibility tools. So unfortunately, Samurai Warriors 5 does not work out of the box, which has earned it the status of unsupported, but you can get the game to run with one annoying issue. For the first steps, we have to make sure that we get into desktop mode. So once we are in desktop mode, make sure to open Steam so you can have proper trackpad controls and the ability to bring up an on-screen keyboard. Next, open up Discover and search for Proton Up-QT. You're going to have to press the Steam plus X button to get an on-screen keyboard up. Once you find and get a Proton Up installed, launch it and a small window should pop up. Make sure the drop down is selected to Steam, but usually it is by default. And you're going to hit Add Version. The compatibility tool should be Proton GE and the version to choose is GE Proton 7-10. Once that is installed, go back into gaming mode, select the gear icon for Samurai Warriors 5 and go into properties and into the compatibility setting. Select force the use of the specific Steam Play compatibility tool and make sure it is selected on GE Proton 7-10. The game should launch and not get stuck past the first input. Everything works great except for the in-game movies. The in-game movies are missing sound effects, but dialogue and music work just fine. It is disappointing, but if anyone finds a way to make it work perfectly, then feel free to let us know in the comments down below. The controls for Samurai Warriors 5 works great out of the box. The default recommended layout is the gamepad with joystick trackpad. I am someone who has been playing a Warriors game since Dynasty Warriors 3, which came out in 2001. And throughout those years, all the Warriors games follow a very identical or similar scheme, with a few new added combat features. And it all just works. The controls are exactly what I expect them to be for someone who has muscle memory for these types of controls for this type of game. So not much for me to inform you about this section. Samurai Warriors 5 runs very well on the Steam Deck. There's a bit of occasional dips to 40 when you activate an attack with flashy animations on 100 of soldiers. I'll show you what the game looks like on all the different graphics settings. It doesn't look too much different. It is most noticeable in the environment than the effects and character details. Some of the settings also make the FPS lock to 30, so that will be the only setting I am changing for these comparisons, so you can see it reach up to 60 FPS. The graphics settings will say it is custom since I changed that one setting. Here is the low graphics settings. Here is the medium graphics settings. And here's the high graphics settings. I just run the game on high graphics settings. The game seems to hold up really well on the Steam Deck and is usually around 50 to 60 FPS. Like I said previously, there are occasional dips to 40, but it isn't often. The game does not have a resolution to fit the Steam Deck's aspect ratio. It has 1280 by 720, which leaves some padding on the top and bottom of the screen. My capture card is making so much extra black space, but that is just because of the capture card's interaction with the Steam Deck and this game. Samurai Warriors 5 can run on the Steam Deck, but it still has one annoying issue, which is the lack of sound effects in the in-game movies. Dialogue and music plays just fine in the in-game movies, but it is awkward to watch swords clash and hear nothing. Some cutscenes don't have music, so it is just dead silent until someone speaks. Controls are perfectly fine. They are what I expect them to be as a veteran Warriors player. Graphics look very pretty and flashy, and thankfully the Steam Deck can handle the game at the highest setting. Everything works except the in-game movies. So if the devs really care, they could probably figure out what the issue is to fix it. But let me remind you that this game only works if you do a few extra steps, and to some people that is too much to ask for. Samurai Warriors 5 earns its unsupported status, but it is also a game that feels very close to having a verified status. Now when it comes to whether I would prefer to play this game on my desktop PC or on the Steam Deck, I would really love to play this game on the Steam Deck, but the lack of sound effects in the in-game movies takes away from sitting back and watching an epic cutscene. So I would have to just stick with playing on the desktop PC. Hopefully there is a fix for this soon, whether it is by the devs or by the community. But let me know in the comments down below if you think otherwise, or if I missed anything you'd like to see for the next video. If there is a specific game you'd like for me to try out, feel free to leave a suggestion in the comments as well. I'll leave some gameplay after this outro for you to watch if you just want to see gameplay without commentary. So remember to like, comment, share, subscribe. Until then, I will see you all later. Goodbye.
ただいまお救いいたします。包囲を打ち崩し、萩山城へと突入する。登録したな、親父。リノは俺に任せて、安らかにくたばれ。この大バカ者が。けども、リノの未来はお主に討ち死に。道三様、あと一歩間に合わなかったか。敵将討ち取った。叶う相手ではなかったか。計算通りだ。みんな顔を上げよ。ここからは俺が采配を取る。親父殿の無念を晴らすぞ。道三様のご恩に報いねば。門を開き、城内の者を逃がすのだ。開門一発、決定。どうぞ。仕留めよ。心得ました。いや、隙だらけだ。逃がしはしない。すべて俺の計算通りだ。逃がしはしない。討ち死に。安助、出ます。親父は死んだぞ。奴に味方していた者は命が落ちけら今すぐ俺に下るがいい。
今義達様に逆らっても無駄死にか。父さん様、みんなごめんなさい。
よもやこれほどとは。諦めるのか。諦めると思うか。そうだ、お前もうつけだったな。やるか。あ義達様、義達、務めを果たす。心得ました。貴様はこの明智十兵衛光秀が切り捨てる。おお、助かりましたぞ。その動き、俺には見通せている。意地は見せたわ。もうよかろう。なんと見事な。負ける気しませんね。 耐えきれん。聞かせてもらう。アンペ、さといお前がなぜ。
ごめん光秀さん、僕がもっと悟ければいい方法を思いついたのかな。
放置です。開門。者ども畳みかけろ。奴らを一人残らず打ち捨てちまえ。開門。
今は義達に恩を売っておいて損はあるまい。だごと踏み潰してやろうぞ。
まず吉本だ。やむを得ん。撤退するぞ。とどまっては被害が増えるばかりだ。勝利条件変更。従わなかったこと必ず後悔させてやる。義達様が引いちまった。俺らは一体どうすりゃいいんだ。務めを果たす。俺が敵の目を引きつける。皆はその間に撤退を進めよ。
マムシにくれてやる。
心得。
慈悲はない。残らず叩け。
いただきだ。義達、吉本を呼び込んでいたと。今は無用な戦いは避けよう。いただきだ。うぬらん残らず拙者の手柄となるがよい。終焉だ。
私の天命のここまでね、市中。
信長殿に報いるためにも清瀬への道は俺が切り開く。承知した。道が開けた。俺で撤退も容易になるはずだ。開門。
ごめんなさい。どうぞ。
あっちが何やら騒がしいな。敵襲か。急ぎ向かうぞ。
怒りました。
務めを果たす。
心得ました。心得ました。
ここを抜ければ清須も近い。皆気力を絞り歩を進めよ。
家康いいことおじさまの期待にしっかり応えるのよ。
ああ、分かっている。申し訳ありません。承知した。
どうぞ。
ネズミ一匹逃しはせぬぞ。
敵将討ち取りました。
ここで死んでは忠を尽くせぬ。見上げたものだな。
市中、
務めを果たす。
まだ私に生きろというの。
いただきだ。叶う相手ではなかったか。いただきだ。敵将討ち取った。悔しいがここまでか。耐えきれん。聞かせてもらう。叶う相手ではなかったか。気づけ。その動き、俺には見通せている。聞かせていただこう。喜ばしい活躍ぶりだ。
私の獲物発見ね。
出ませんね。
許さないんだから。
敵将討ち取りました。ごめんなさい。
信長殿、道三様の思いに応えてくれたことを礼を言う。だが救うことはできなかった。親父どもの仇討ちはいずれ必ず俺が